The Nigerian legislators on Wednesday gave President Muhammadu Buhari a 6-week ultimatum to comprehensively address rising insecurity or face impeachment. This occurred when over 80 senators across political parties and a majority of House of Representative members agreed to impeach President Muhammadu Buhari before the legislature shut down till September 20. Arise correspondent Egosa Igumbo reports.
It started as speculations on Tuesday. Angst by the growing state of insecurity. Senators threatened a showdown if this challenge isn't addressed urgently. They were particularly disappointed that the leadership of the Senate was silent on the issue. When the Senate resumed plenary on Wednesday, there was no trace of the matter on the order paper, despite reports that the Senate President had promised to discuss it publicly. Instead, the Senate went into a closed session that lasted over 2 hours. Details of what transpired in that session was, however, not discussed. However, back at plenary, the Senate President began by notifying the lawmakers of a request from the governing All Progressives Congress to appoint Senator Abdullahi Gobir as the Senate leader following the defection of Senator Yahya Abdullahi.
Accept herewith the party's nomination of Senator Ibrahim Abdullahi Gobir, Sokoto East Senatorial District, as replacement for the Senate leader and chairman APC Senate Caucus.
Moments later, the minority leader, Philip Aduda, raised a motion on the state of insecurity through a point of order, but the Senate President quickly shut it down.
The efforts that have been made so far on the issues of security in the country, after which we will give an ultimatum to the President that he resolves this issue, otherwise we give an impeachment notice. And as such...
Minority Leader, your point of order. First, you are supposed to cite the order. Second, you are supposed to discuss with me what you are going to discuss. You didn't. Thirdly, I read the progress report. Thirdly, when I read it, when some of our colleagues were still not listening. Thirdly, we have already passed that stage. Look at where we are today. So, just hold on, please. So, at this moment, that point of order, I don't know what it is, but falls flat on its face.
This development forced the senators in the opposition to stage a walkout.
The Senate had at various levels, at various times, convened various security meetings, various security issues were discussed, and we did recommend to government various steps and measures aimed at curbing these issues of insecurity. We realized that even Abuja that we are in is no more safe.
The lawmakers have now given the president an ultimatum.
Well, we have given 2 months' notice within which 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks precisely, within which this security issues should really be resolved.
Although this decision may have been announced by the minority caucus in the Senate, but it has been established that it's the general view of the whole Senate.
Well, I can tell you without any equivocation that this is the reflection of the whole Senate. We had a closed session, and opinions were canvassed, and positions were, enunciated to the fact that we can no longer continue business as usual.
It may look like a tall order, but whether government will be able to rise to the occasion, no one can tell for now. But Nigerians will only have to stay alert until this issue is addressed. Egosa Igumbo, Arise News.
Also disturbed by the state of insecurity in the country, Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, Ndudi Elumelu, who led the delegation of PDP House Caucus to to woo Daniel Buhari, former chieftain of the All Progressive Congress who quit the ruling party over the controversial choice of the APC to pick a Muslim vice presidential candidate, said the House may soon serve President Muhammadu Buhari an impeachment notice.
The man that says he's tired, why should you still keep him there? If he's tired, he should be asked to go back to Daura, his village. That is the best thing. And I can authoritatively tell you that Mr. President does not even know what is going on. Is that the kind of party or the government I will ask to be part of? The answer is no. Or are you going to talk of
Crude oil.
the crude oil? There are so many who will not live here. But what I have come to tell you, we have come to ask you to join PDP.
For multiple problems that we have in the country, I believe that there must be a unanimity by every Nigerian that today what we are facing is quite existential. And the very fact that the very fabric of our society is under threat, I think, calls for the participation of everyone in first rescuing the country, and then we can talk about politics.
In its reaction to the impeachment ultimatum by the senators, the federal government says it is working around the clock to address the security challenges in the country while thanking the lawmakers for their patriotism. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, gave this response after the Federal Executive Council meeting at the State House. He also described the threat by terrorists to kidnap the president as propaganda and laughable.
Some of the measures we are going to take are not measures that you can discuss, openly here. But we are as concerned as you are. We're not going to abandon our responsibility. As to those who have issued threats to Mr. President, I think it's more propaganda than anything. It's laughable. As to the resolution passed by Senate, as rightly said, it was passed when we were deliberating. But we thank them for their patriotism and their concern, but we have already, we are working around the clock, 24 hours, to ensure that Nigerians are, the situation is brought under control.
Here we go again.
Well, I just find the timing strange, and it's funny that you ended there with the Minister for Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, talking about the threats made against President Muhammadu Buhari and calling it laughable. I don't think it's funny at all. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria being threatened is a slap on all our faces. But I think the timing of the senator's impeachment attempt, I'll call it that for now, is linked to that, because they were also threatened. The president was threatened, Governor El-Rufai was threatened, governors in general were threatened, and senators. So I think that might be what has woken them up to their constitutional duties. They all suddenly remember that Section 143 of the Constitution exists. Actually, that's not entirely fair, because I just remember there was a previous impeachment attempt, wasn't there, when President Muhammadu Buhari procured those Super Tucano jets for around $500 million without National Assembly approval. But that was way back in 2018. Nigerians have been dying, being kidnapped, being raped. All kinds of indignities have been suffered by Nigerians throughout, and all of a sudden the Senate wakes up. And also why I'm taking this approach is just also the 6-week ultimatum. 6 weeks is an eternity. If we're really talking about security, a lot more people will be dead in 6 weeks. 6 weeks ultimatum because the Senate is going on recess. Well, are terrorists going on recess? No, they are not. So it just makes you, it takes the air out of it when you say, we're going on holiday, but when we're back, we're going to give you what for? And the president is hardly going to be quaking in his boots, is he? If you're really serious, you shelve your recess and you address this. Anyway, back to Section 143. What it demands initially is at least 1/3 signing a petition which will be served to the president. But ultimately, it's a long, like 3-month process, which requires a 2/3 majority in both houses. So let's even see if the ball is actually going to get rolling, or if this is all talk and no trousers as usual. Because we were all here back in December reading breathless headlines. 73 senators are preparing to override President Muhammadu Buhari's veto. And what happened? Nothing. So I think President Muhammadu Buhari is sitting there watching all of this and not feeling threatened in the slightest, but he should feel threatened, because this is wrong. While I'm kind of not expressing the utmost faith in the Senate and in terms of how far they will go, I understand the sentiments driving them, the emotions driving them. Everybody is afraid in this country. And I refer constantly to Harry Truman, President of America, with that sign, "The buck stops here." And it was capital letter, buck stops in capital letters, with an exclamation mark, given to him by his friend. What kind of friends do our leaders have? Now I think the Senate is trying to play that role of a friend. I remind the president that the buck stops with you. He should have that. We don't have, what's the desk that the president sits on? We don't have the Resolute desk, do we? What do we call ours? Whatever. It should just be sitting there. You should be looking at it every single day, because he is the commander-in-chief. If the security agencies are not performing, then it's because of him. And he also needs to think about what happened in the past. This is not a Buhari issue. National assemblies have risen up in this country to try and impeach a president before. It was done to President Obasanjo. Totally different context there. It was because, well, he had an impeachment habit of his own, didn't he? Removing people willy-nilly as Senate president, his budgetary implementations, and most egregious of all, massacres in this country, Odi and Zaki Biam. But the only reason why at that time that did not succeed, the Senate could not really get its act together, the House of Assembly, the National Assembly could not get its act together. That might not be the case this time. Although I don't think that this will go through, I think it's enough of a short, sharp shock to the presidency to understand that people are watching, people are completely disgusted with the way things are going, and people are scared for their very lives.
Dr. Abati?
Okay. In 2014-2015, President Muhammadu Buhari, who was a candidate then, told Nigerians that he will address 3 things: security. And his party campaigned on the platform of security being a problem, parts of Nigeria having been overtaken by terrorists, and Nigerians believed that, in fact, an army general, a Civil War, hero, will be able to address the challenge of insecurity in Nigeria. So they believed him. He talked about the economy, that he will fix the economy. Well, they also believed him. He said he will fight corruption. Nigerians also believed him. And he campaigned on the basis of this 3-point agenda, and he became president. Today, when many Nigerians look back, I don't know what they will score him in all these, aspects. However, what we've seen with the National Assembly is the National Assembly coming together and saying that, look, 6-week ultimatum, if the president is unable to deliver on his promise to deal with security challenges in the country, then they will commence impeachment proceedings against him. It's been reported as the protest has led by, the minority caucus within the PDP. But the truth of the matter is that we have been told by Senator Enyunaya Baribe, Abia South, representing Abia South, that in fact it was a consensus across party lines, and that they had a 2-hour closed-door meeting, and they resolved to go this way. So it's not just the PDP. ABGA is involved. Even the APC is involved in it. Senator Adamu Bukachua is an APC senator, and he was one of those persons who joined the protest. Now, what they have done, basically, is to walk out on the Senate President, Hamad Lawan, who had consistently said that he will only act in the interest of the president of Nigeria. I modified that. He has consistently said that he will do everything to defend whatever the president of Nigeria wants, and he's been consistent in that regard. But there are others in that assembly, in both chambers, who believe that the president's best effort, as referred to repeatedly by the Minister of Information, is not good enough. Okay, do they have a justification for this? Security. Well, if you look at the situation, yes, we face very serious security challenges in this country. In the last week or so, or if you like, in the last few days, we've seen the ugly spectacle, the tragic, disturbing, frustrating spectacle of persons who were kidnapped in March for traveling in a train between Abuja and Kaduna, being flogged. And the terrorists were audacious enough to even threaten to abduct the president and abduct the governor of Kaduna State and abduct these same senators who are protesting. I'm not surprised that the senators have quickly gone on recess because they say no, they will go away because Abuja is not safe. And Honorable Ndidi Elumelu has been quoted as saying, you better go to your constituency and leave this Abuja that is no longer safe. Well, would they be safe also in their constituencies, wherever they come from? Now, in these last few days, schools are about to be shut down. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has asked every school to shut down. Nasarawa state government has also followed the same example. The Nigerian law school that is in Buhari could not hold its call to bar ceremony in its own premises. It had to go far away to Jabi, to the headquarters of the body of benchers, where the authorities of the law school believe that there will be better security. Okay, and then of course a captain, a lieutenant, and 6 other soldiers were killed. All of this within the same space. And the civil defense, a department of government, has also reported that ISWAP and Boko Haram, they are determined and they have intelligence that they intend to attack the Federal Capital Territory, Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, and other key, including Lagos. I hope we will be safe here in Lagos, otherwise we will run to the Republic of Benin. So with this kind of situation, the lawmakers are now asking a question. If the president cannot do it within 6 weeks, then he should just go home. If he does not go home, they will impeach them. But can they impeach him? Lai Mohammed says this is propaganda, is laughable. Garuba Shehu says this is performative and babyish. Femi Adesina, also speaking for government, says these are anarchists. They don't know what they are talking about. Well, they may be speaking from their understanding of how Nigeria works, knowing that, well, these things may not really work out. But what is important is that these senators, they've put their grievances on the table. It is the equivalent of passing a vote of no confidence in the president. Yes, Section 143 refers. That's the section of the Constitution that talks about the process of impeachment. And there are about 8 stages. Even in terms of the time that is before the National Assembly, it will be very difficult within these remaining 7 months to impeach the president. The first process is a notice of allegation in writing or via a motion that will be supported by 1/3 of the Assembly. When that happens, and it is established that they want to commence impeachment proceedings, the president himself has to be informed. And he will be given 7 days within which he could reply. He may not even reply. Then it goes back to the National Assembly. Then the National Assembly will now take a decision whether to proceed or not. In that regard, you will need 2/3 majority. Just keep counting the days. The days are already going. Then, of course, the president will now be given two weeks within which to reply. He may or may not reply. If the House resolves that they will continue, yes, they will continue. If they resolve that they will not continue, the process ends there. So the opposition members, do they have the numbers? So if they don't have the numbers, it dies. If they do, they get the 2/3 concurrence of both houses, it goes ahead. When it now goes ahead, the National Assembly will now set up a panel led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria and composed of a panel of persons of unquestionable integrity. I wonder whether there are still persons of unquestionable integrity that you can immediately put together without anybody questioning their integrity. Okay, let us assume that we succeed in that regard. That panel will now have 3 months within which to carry out his own investigations and consider the merit of the allegations. And the president will be given the opportunity to defend himself. 3 months. Already we've counted about 4 or 5 months. So we're already in the middle of the election, after right? 6 weeks. After the initial 6 weeks. So if the panel says there is no merit to this, then of course it ends there. Yeah. So given the numbers, given the timing, it won't happen. I don't see it happening. However, It is important that these senators are speaking up and they are putting the accent on the security challenges that we face in Nigeria. Minister Lai Mohammed says there will be a national security meeting today, that the president has summoned the national security. There was another national security meeting 2 weeks ago. There was one the other month. National security meeting, always meeting. The people are not asking about meeting. They are saying government should rescue them, should solve the problem. So, well, it's interesting. We live in interesting times to see senators, lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria singing a luta continua songs like labor unionists and like university students or university teachers who all have their grievances about how the country is managed.
Sad times for Nigeria. Sad times demand very, very, very stringent and strong measures. I'm happy that the Senate has finally woken up, because before we thought they were rubber stamp full on. But they are still rubber stamp, and they are still part of the problem. I'm not going to exonerate the Senate from the problem. Because when they talk about Nigeria and they talk about everything that is wrong about Nigeria, they forget that the Nigerian Senate, the lawmakers, are part of everything wrong with Nigeria with their big fat salaries that they cannot account for. If they truly love this country, they should do that job without pay. They should make it voluntary. When you take money out of that job, everybody will sit up. But I dare them not to look at the big juicy bribe that comes from various committees. I dare them. But I'm happy they are speaking up. But all of this is even sad. That the reaction from the presidency, the Femi Adesina was calling people anarchists for saying the president should wake up to his responsibility when there's anarchy in the land already. If he wants to call people anarchists for replying to the anarchy in the land, then all of us Nigerians, we're all anarchists. We have no idea of how deep things have gone in this country. That now we are shutting down schools when we're not a place of war. We're shutting down everywhere, high security alerts. I've got people I call family in Abuja. I can't go into Abuja now. Everybody's scared for their lives in Abuja. And that's the country we've become. And this was the same president that campaigned that he will solve the insecurity problem. I put it on record that insecurity is worse now in Nigeria than it was under President Goodluck Jonathan. The facts are there. In 2015, people could still travel on the Kaduna-Abuja highway. Can they today? In 2015, people were not shutting down schools in Abuja. In 2015, we didn't hear of killings of our brigade of guards. And this was the same Mr. Femi Adesina that said months ago that we will solve the insecurity problem before this administration comes to an end. And we keep having meetings over meetings that do not favor Nigeria. We are sick and tired of these meetings, ultimatums, and directives. And only to think that the president went to brief the Liberians on how to tackle insecurity. Is that not what we've become as a country? We can't solve our own problems. We are going to tell other people how to solve the problem of insecurity. I would have wondered that President Weah of Liberia would tell President Buhari, "Oh my man, how's the insecurity in your country, man?" Because we think it's a joke. Because we are not on the second end of the stick. How people now pay bandits hundreds of millions. And the government has not to be able to investigate the people that collect this money and the channel at which they take this money. How banditry is now so rife in Nigeria that somebody was joking with me the other day. He said when they release the next GDP numbers, they should please put banditry as a sector of the Nigerian economy. Because that's the most lucrative sector now. Do you know that in this one cycle of the Kaduna train kidnap victims, they've done over 1 billion naira? From people that don't have money. And this money keeps circulating in our economy. We can't do anything about it. And when people talk, you call them anarchists. When are we going to open our eyes and tell ourselves the truth in this country that is bleeding? We want our country to do well. Coupled with the destruction of the Nigerian economy. Nigerian economy was better in 2015 than it is today. The facts are there. Some people campaigned so hard in 2015. They said they will make $1 1 naira. The complaint then that $1 was 216 to 1 naira. Today is 710. 710.
It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace and an apology to this same naira that used to be 80 cents. 1 naira used to be, 80 kobo used to be $1. At some point, naira and dollar was not even 1 to 1. Naira on the balance of things was stronger. It was pound and naira that used to be 1 to 1. In 40 years, we've squandered all our riches. 2023 makes it 40 years. Oyeka, when you did that documentary, Squandering of Riches. 1983. It is 40 years. We are still even worse than when Nigeria used to be in 1983. And people talk and you call them anarchists. You think it's a joke. Dudu, you were talking about presidents putting the bulk stops here on their table. I think what President Buhari should put in his red room, because I have seen the room is always in the color is red, should be the picture of Deborah. Should be the picture of Leah Sharibu. Should be the picture of the Jangebe girls. Should be the picture of all the soldiers that have been killed in this insurgency. Because if you want to see the true face of Nigerians now that are crying and bleeding, are the pictures of those bandits have kidnapped at one point or the other and collected 100 million naira ransom. We want a better country, and I don't think that's too much to ask for.